He's under cold. Okay, we'll go ahead and start this subcommittee of Blasting Advisory Board. It's 5:50, and first we'll go ahead and do a roll call.
Angel Armesto.
Brian Morera.
And Stephen Herzberg.
Miguel Martinez.
Got it.
Rafael de la Vega, present.
Okay, next up, public comments. I don't believe we have anybody that we can confirm. Nothing. Perfect. Adoption of prior minutes. Ray Garcia is not here, who would have that, so we'll push that to the next agenda.
Saved by the bell. Evening.
And we'll go on to old business, and we'll go ahead and just open it up for everybody on the status report. First, regarding the blasting bike ride, if anybody was able to reach out to local HOA and potential homeowners, as we discussed last time, for stops or cooperation regarding the bike ride we're trying to plan.
So nothing on my end. I wasn't able to contact anyone on the west side. Someone volunteered for the east side, but obviously we're not going to the east side. We're sticking to the west side. So no luck on my end.
Was anyone else able to I know Miguel, you go ahead.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Yes, I live in Serenity Point, which is right down the loop of Northwest 87. So I asked some of the board members, Yvonne Fernandez and Peter, who's over there, and they were going to give me an answer back, but they haven't answered me back. But it looks very good.
Okay.
Because we suffer from the blasting and everything else. I mean, that's that whole area. So we'll probably get it. And the good thing is that once we come down 87th, you could just get it. You don't have to get into the entire community because we have a Garden Gate, but we have like a park area. You could rest there. We could have refreshments there. I mean, I'll do that. I'm one of the homeowners there, so and we could have that. And quickly, if you want to go back to, it's the only community that goes crosses from 87th all the way to 90, the other road back there where Barbara Goldman is. So we could do that too. So we'll probably get something from Serenity Point, the homeowners association. But I know this weekend or something like that.
Right. What about specific homes, or maybe even your own home?
I think I have.
Stop.
I'm gonna need Miguel to go do a little inspection over there and see. But we do hear the blasts.
Right.
I don't think there's any humongous issues, but we do feel them. There's no doubt about it.
Let Miguel.
I mean, today was twice.
Right.
Was huge today. So.
Okay.
If I could jump in, what has an actual route been established or a desired?
I think that's where we're getting to.
That's where we're at, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think Satori has been approached, and speaking, I would have to get board approval, obviously, but as one of the directors there, we're one of the closest associations to the epicenter of White Rock Quarry, so we would certainly be interested in.
You're in Satori?
Yeah. So,
I think the person of contact there is Lisbeth Cotto. I think she was one of the Economic Development Committee secretaries, but she's doing her own job now. But she lives there.
Okay.
She's very.
Lisbeth. Yes, I know.
Lisbeth,
Lisbeth.
Lisbeth Cotto.
Yes, I know.
And I'm sure she'll say yes. I'm sure that they won't.
Yeah, I mean,
we got to approach her. I told her to approach her, but she was out of town.
What you guys need and how you set up the route, but one of the easy things, actually, one of the things that we prevented people from doing when there aren't organized events is, but bike riders, back when our gates were open, they would come in through 87th, head south, and then that way, like he said, you don't have to do the entire community. You go in through 87th and you exit through 154th. And, it's actually a nice scenic ride, and it wouldn't harm traffic in Satori too much. So,
Right.
that I don't see why wouldn't something I could present at a board. We meet actually as a board tomorrow, so if you guys want me to prove, I just need more details to give them.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the details now. So this is your first meeting,
Yeah.
right? You're just sworn in, so thanks for joining. So the committee, this is a subcommittee, but the committee proposed having a bike ride basically to provide more awareness for blasting, right? And we're trying to get the state representative to join us and other elected officials, potentially some media and whatnot, and create sort of like a community event. And we actually did discuss Satori last time because it's a brand new community, right? All the homes there are no more than three years old.
Yep.
Right? Not even.
I mean, some of the oldest ones are probably hitting 4 now.
Right. So these are brand new structures that if they have damage,
Correct.
I don't think Lennar is going to say that their homes were poorly built, right? So we would really like to have the support, 2 access, and then I don't know if there's specific homeowners in the community that have supposedly there are complaints of damage from the blasting.
Yeah.
That we could potentially visit the home, and that's what we're looking for. One, we need the approval association because it's a private community, right? And 2, if there's anybody, maybe there's somebody on the board that has this issue, but anybody in the community willing to host. And I think our idea is to have 5-10 minute stops at a home that has damage, show the damage,
Yeah.
show the representative or elected officials or town officials the damage, and then go to the next spot. About a 2-hour total time. So, but Centauri is definitely on our radar to be included.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, count me as a fan. And I can approach our association like the rest of our board. They'll, I know for a fact, go along with it. But, I'll still have to get their okay. And then, once we're closer to determining a route and what we want to do, when you say kind of, I guess, demonstrate some of the damages, I think in regard to blasting, in newer homes, the damage manifests itself inside the home, usually on the drywall and on things like that. So I don't know how much exterior damage you're going to find in Satori. But what we do have is a very nice linear park where if you want to make that a stop, I can recommend that to the board as well.
Right, and maybe make that a stop and make the association aware of it, and then the homeowners there can come and join us
Exactly.
there. Right,
No, and they'll just share their experience.
exactly. That's a good idea. All right, thanks. We'll give you that task officially next item on the agenda.
Wait, he said the meeting for the homeowners association is tomorrow. So,
Right, but today
okay.
we'll get it over to him today.
Just so you're aware, I'm Miguel Martinez. I'm the chair of the parent committee of this. But Aragon, which is relatively the same vintage of you guys, has significant damage. I've inspected numerous homes there, exterior and interior. And what has come to light more than anything is that people aren't aware, and like you're saying, what am I looking at? And a crack is a crack. The reality is there's a major science behind cracks. So you need to know what you're looking at, what you're looking for, how to identify, and then you realize what's up. You'll see a pattern happening. You'll see, and it's not just the damage to the property, to the structure, but like in PSN as an example, of the soil, where you have differential settlements happening, you'll be able to recognize these type of things. And these identifications is what is critical so that people can learn what's happening. I've had people come to me and argue, I put 50 ton, it was 5,000 pounds, 5,000 yards. It was 1,000 yards. I don't remember. It was a truck in his backyard. I did it 10 years ago and I did it again. What's the big deal? Why would you fill your yard? What's happening to the soil that it's disappearing?
Where's it going?
So, and then when I asked him that, he's like, you heard of Einstein? Yeah. The matter cannot be neither created nor destroyed. So where's it going? It kind of ended the conversation real quick. So these are the type of things that we need to identify to educate the public so they can know what they're looking at and know what the effects are. Some damage is not, may not be considered structural per se, that's something to be feared of, or some damage can easily be repaired. Others cannot. So these are the type of things that at least we can start learning that, you know, if you have 103 fever, it's not a 99 fever. There's a difference. That's what this is about. So the bike ride is raising awareness of this.
I think that's great.
Okay. Anyone else have any other updates? Okay. We also had a status report regarding the park and ride, but I believe who that was assigned to is not here. So we'll go ahead and mark that for next one. That was regarding the rally that we want to schedule as well. Go ahead.
Just a quick question. Were you able to reach out to the Royal Oaks Homeowners Association?
Yeah, I did. I haven't gotten a response back, and also reached out to a few other homeowners nearby. One person did say they're interested but wouldn't commit, but nothing specifically from the HOA.
I have the phone number for the president of the Royal Oaks Association if you need it.
Yeah. Okay. It's even better.
Congratulations. Thanks for volunteering.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm volunteering to give him the number.
I met with Rep. Fabricio and Nikita, his assistant, for a date. They have available the 7th or the 14th. It's a Saturday for August for the bike rides. So they're open on that. And as far as the rally is concerned, he says in reality it's too far ahead. But that this session starts January 11th. He said, and I'm reading their emails, there's only one committee week in December, the very first week, but it's too far in advance that things are changing. But so basically it's, you know, we can start focusing down, although obviously we have time, but once a venue is decided on, I think that's going to be the next thing, what's available for that venue.
Okay.
Excuse me, could you please repeat the dates they gave?
They're available on they recommending, and they're clear for the 7th or the 14th of August, for Saturday for the bike ride.
Okay, and that takes us to new business, which is continuing discussion. First, we have discussion regarding the proposed route of the bike ride. Given the information of the likelihood of having Satori, Serenity Point, I think it's important that we come down to an agreement on where this ride is going, and we would need to do that to give to the police department as well, so they can coordinate their needs for the ride. So I actually have some printed maps here. Actually, it's the bicycle infrastructure map of the town of Miami Lakes, but ultimately it's a decent resolution map that we can use to discuss the route. So let me pass this around. In the prior meeting, we discussed that we were looking at starting at Royal Oaks Park there on 87th, right?
Correct.
And as we know, we're not go across the east. It's a matter of going south down 87th, and if we want to make a turn east or continue just south and stay on the west side of town. So what are our thoughts given the two communities that we believe will cooperate? And Miguel, I don't know if you were able to reach out to anybody about, or if you're aware of any homeowners in that area, whether we want to just go down south, down 87th. Do we want to go down south 87th and go through Commerce Way and go back around, and how long we want this ride to be and how long we expect the stops to be.
I was invited with Hope Reynolds, that we went through her community. Well, I guess her community is several communities in one. So we went, right, touring there for the issues with the flooding, with the student project was going on. And I went more than, she invited me to learning that area, and I went to see if identifying issues or not. If there is. And I mean, there's actually a privacy wall, and I think it was Dundee Terrace. There's a privacy wall along the development there, and we should bring a level with us. That wall is like leaning out. It hasn't been impacted by a vehicle. I mean, it's the entire length of the wall. And that's typical of damages. There was some privacy fences or fence decorative rails and whatnot was showing signs of spalling and typical damages from seismic. So I think they're good examples.
Where was that?
I believe it was Dundee Terrace. We rode a lot that day. And I'm just looking at the map now. Actually, it might be Begawan Road. It was that one. It was Begawan Road. So I think, I mean, obviously, once we start narrowing it down, it'd be worth it just to take a ride, even by bike, if that matter. But the officer was talking about like a 6 miles is what to think as a ballpark number. We did 3 miles that day, and we did multiple stops, different reason. And it was about an hour and a half in total. We were going fairly slow. One of the students, the bike had broken down. She was on roller skates, so we were going, yeah, poor thing. But it was a good ride nonetheless. I think it'd be good also, the privacy walls along 87th Avenue. I mean, you're in the area and you'll see it. You'll notice that the panels, they're shifting. This is typical of the seismic movement. And I actually brought the state inspector, gave him a tour, and I showed him these walls. They're precast panels, so there's no reason that the shift as it goes from panel to panel. I mean, the area is being affected.
Okay, so I mean, I believe we're in agreement starting at Royal Oaks Park, Centauri, right? And then how far south we're going down, and we're going down to what intersection and where exactly do we come into Serenity Point if that's available? Okay, all the way down to Commerce Line. Got it.
Right.
This around, end up in the Royal Oaks area, and then from Royal Oaks, we'll 80 Navigate Drive, and come back up.
Right.
That's what number 6.
Or if we came down,
That's my favorite.
right, if we came down 87 from the park, go through the Satori, go out across Miami Lakes where the park is,
Right.
that new park. We don't have to traverse 154 at all. We enter into the neighborhood. Just below it, that's 89th Avenue.
Right.
Any homes that they want to, we could zigzag in any of these streets. Okay. And continue till we get to, looks like 143. The way we can go, or 144 in that area, which would go into to 87th Avenue, and then zigzag to the Commerce Way where we can cross 87th. Actually, it would be good because if we could see a section of 87th Avenue there for that wall, the point could be made for that.
Okay, and then on Commerce Way, where are we exiting Commerce Way? Well,
Make a left on that light, 87th and
right.
Commerce Way, already. Or if you head west, you know, Robert Gold. But if you head east on 87 and Commerce Way, which is 142nd, you go all the way, you take that loop,
Right. You take the loop, right,
you loop all around.
and then go up through.
Businesses there, medical places,
Right.
offices. I'm gonna ask it out there.
Right.
A lot. You know, who else is in that experience?
Is there any connection to get on north into the neighborhood than that?
Which neighborhood?
No, you're on from Commerce Way. Once you enter from 87th Avenue, the neighborhood that's to the north.
There's a neighborhood right there on the right, there's apartments there, and there's condos that are there. So the ones on the left side.
The left side.
No, you got to go around. Right.
You gotta go around the loop, and they got a security guard to get into it. That's
Yeah. I think it's public though. It's not.
There's a road,
very big area.
83rd Avenue. See if we can get into this
That's right.
and loop around.
You gotta go, it ends there. There's a dead end in that community.
Right. That's the only way in and out.
Actually, not just 87th.
Yeah. I think that's the only way in and out.
It has walls all over the place. You can't go across. I know what you're saying, if you're gonna go across, you can't go across.
Right. I'm fairly confident that's the only entrance.
You gotta go through the loop and get out.
Right.
And get out through the loop.
Right. So I think what we would do is go around Commerce and then go up north down the 82nd. And if we go to our Oaks.
Right, and then you go 82nd, you get it right into.
Right. And then you can
You get rid of Oaks. and-
you can even then go back around and stop right back at the park.
Right, and then come back south and go back.
Right.
87th.
There's a car here though. You see it? There's a car coming in. If we enter through there,
What is that? That's by the 83rd.
this is Commerce Way.
That's Commerce Way.
So if we went into this community here and exit out through here,
There's no entrance. That's like a park. There's no entrance to it.
right there. Yeah.
I think it's still locked. I think it's like an extra way for them to get out. I don't think it's still got-
I don't know, because it's like a curb cut and
Still
a
gotta go
car.
around and go to a security guard that's over the lake. Yeah, I see it. But I think it's like an access road.
Right.
I don't think it's like a traffic or.
Which one is Serenity Point?
Maybe I'm wrong. I gotta go back and check.
Which one is Serenity Point? The one that you were discussing?
Serenity Point is right on 87th and 144th.
So that's gonna be, is that inside the six?
No, it's west of 80.
Oh, it's
of
west of
87?
87.
Yeah, west of 87. Right.
So what you're saying is to zigzag inside of Serenity Point and then cross over in there.
And then front, okay, get out again, and then cross over, make a right, and 87th, and then make a left. And the immediate left, you're in Commerce.
Do you, and then I think this is what you were saying about
Yeah.
intended stops inside the six. Okay.
And then head up north up 82nd. If
82nd,
we
past
could,
the CVS,
and then you have Row
big
Oaks
park
or
there,
right.
big northwest.
Mhm.
I think it is the Boy Scouts.
Right.
Whatever, and you go all the way up to.
But that's, you're saying to loop, do the
You
whole
have
loop
to
though.
you have to do-
Because ideally, if we can cut through there,
I'll check.
all right,
I think that's just an access road.
right.
Right.
That'd be perfect if we
It'd
could.
be perfect, but I think it's, if you go across there, you gotta get out to the security guard.
Yeah.
And I don't know who's in that community.
We'll hop the fences, throw the bikes over.
This relates to the route.
Stick cows in there.
This relates in part to the route, but with regard to these stops, logistically, how would they work? In most bike rides, not everyone is together in one group. And if we're doing some sort of presentation of the stories or damages or stuff like that, we're gonna do the Disney World system with, repeating the same story over and over, or are we gonna, I don't know, like, I'm kind of just trying to brainstorm like how that would work if you have people who start dragging behind or super duper athlete that wants to go super fast, like how that would work.
Well, that's the only angel we got to watch out for that will take off. So.
I mean, I think it's another item for discussion is what we think the attendance would be. And last time we discussed 30, 40. And I think it would be somewhat of a casual ride. So with the stops, we're hoping we wouldn't have too much of that issue. And again, we're not looking for 100 bike. I don't think we're expecting or looking for 100 bike riders. If that were to happen, we're going to be caught by surprise. I think we're looking at a moderate number of people to join us.
That makes more sense.
Most of the cities, we extended just a block of that curve. The Bank United, you got the fire station right there, right?
Oh, that's right.
And you have the canal and all that there. I don't know how serious that is.
The
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a little block of two.
we can't. We need to avoid the actual fire station. They apparently they got some heat when the news cameras went in. I can tell you that. However, the canal that's doing that, I was on the news, and I actually I've been in discussion with FDOT regarding it. The embankment of that canal, the repairs were done on the west side, on the north of this, north of 154. The west side of the canal is rolling in, and it'd be excellent opportunity. But 77th Court going with bikes, I don't recommend. Yeah, there's people going there. And it's not
Right.
safe. I haven't been looking at the canal on the south side of 154, but you have a point that if it's the same as what I saw there, I think it's an excellent opportunity there. But then again, the question is to meander through. But if we did that and we shoot across on 154, yeah,
Yeah.
the small area of 154 up to 82nd Avenue, and head north. Yeah, that's ideal, and we can go over to Adele's house, and she's at right.
Where's her house?
Adele is. Where is it? I'm sorry, 79th Avenue. I'm on the wrong street. If you go up 79th Avenue and 160th. So basically behind the Winn-Dixie and Bob
Okay.
Graham, that community there, which is the east side of.
Yeah, it's Silvercrest. That's a private community though. So.
Not her area though. Her street is not.
Oh, okay. Oh, she's right.
She's
okay,
outside
she's
the
right outside
courthouse.
of it. Okay, got it.
And she's offered for us to pass by.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
So-
And we don't necessarily need like 5-7 houses.
No.
If we have a few areas that you have pointed out and we
Right.
have a house or 2 houses, I think that that's sufficient and allows us
Yes.
to get the bike ride done in a leisurely way so we don't lose anybody
Exactly.
on the end,
It
right?
doesn't have to be 6 miles. It could be 5 or 4.
Right. No, I get that. But the route we want, it's going to be some miles, right? But
It's a good sampling of what we're trying to see.
right. It's not like we need a house in every community or every turn. I
Right.
think we have 2 houses and then 2-3 spots. That should be pretty good. So I think we're in agreement on. I mean, I guess we can tweak it a little bit if need be, but I think we're in agreement on starting and finishing Royal Oaks Park on 82nd, right?
Yeah.
Going down south, trying to get through into Satori, going through Serenity Point, down Commerce, making that loop, and then going towards Adele House and back north, loop around 170th and back down to Royal Oaks Park. I think we have a route. If somebody wants to volunteer to draw that route out on just like Google Maps or whatever, any other system they have, we can use. I mean, I think Google Maps is pretty simple to do. We'll need that to provide to the town and the police department.
All right. I think I'll also put a post to see if any volunteers of anybody specific in this
Right.
within this boundaries if they want us to pass by.
Okay.
So that'll give our zigzags.
And we're all in agreement on that route?
I agree.
Miguel, I know you discussed August 7th and 14th for the representative. I guess we need to discuss the feasibility of that date. We have a main board meeting on the 19th where we can get a budget in time to the council, but Claricel, the next town council meeting is when? Okay, so the meeting is on August 10th. And we need the
So it would
budget
be the
approved.
14.
So the 7th is obviously
Right.
not feasible. For the 14th, would we be able to coordinate with the police department before getting the budget approved?
So we've recently had an issue with a prior committee on working towards and announcing something prior to it being approved. And that didn't really work out so well. So I would encourage you that after you receive your approval, then you can start promoting the event and working with the police department and such.
So it sounded like it's not going to happen with the 14th either.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds. I guess let's talk about it. I mean, first, I appreciate your advice, and it's probably the right way to go, given your experience. As much as we want to get it done as quickly as possible, maybe we don't want to rush it too to make sure we get the attendance we want. Right? We want to do it right instead of doing it quick. What does everyone think about aiming for? Were you aware of any conflicts he would have in September? We didn't bring that up to him.
I'm not aware of any
Okay.
per se. I was only asking him for
Right.
August. So
Okay. Let's just discuss this on regarding pushing for September and having a little bit more time because we will need to get it approved by the council and then work and have a certain amount of time to work with the police and our own committees to get it done. Anyone want to put in any input about September?
Forgive me since I'm new, but was there a reason that we were previously was there a purpose behind August, or was that just from the time that the idea first was conceived to a proposed planning stage that we were looking at August?
From what I remember, the original hesitancy for September was that September is when school usually kicks in full.
So in that case, September poses that issue, but August and September both pose something that is unintended consequence, which is they're the hottest months of the year to hold up bike ride with stops. So
Yeah,
if you are going to,
that was brought up last time. Yeah.
if you are going to do it in September, later in September, if not even push it, even further, unless there's a rush to get it out, which then
the intention is for one, everything is always getting pushed back. You'll never find a perfect date, and there will always be an excuse for everything. So the matter is we're doing this early in the morning, so it's not a matter of the midday heat. You'll be back in the jacuzzi way before that. So the other thing is to get the legislators involved in this, which was the intention, to raising awareness and the significance of it. So if we can get the state reps involved, they lead the ride. We're going to have a motorcycle cop tailing this with the sirens blaring, and we create some noise. So that was the ultimate goal of this, of raising awareness.
When is the legislature back in session?
Sorry?
When is the legislature back in session, or that we know that they're here in town?
They're here in town for the summer. In
Okay.
December is when things start happening.
Okay.
But this year they're starting in January. They advised me.
Right. It's usually in January.
But
Of
I think
course, there could
also
be special
December has
sessions.
the Veterans Day ride. So you don't want something in December.
September, we only have the 4th, the 11th, or the 18th. The 4th is Labor Day weekend.
Right, so the 4th would be off.
The 11th is the 11th.
Yeah.
So you got the 18th and on. If it's Saturday,
Right.
it's got to be Saturday.
Yeah.
Just common sense. So you have the 18th and the 25th.
And the truth of the matter is, again, you'll never appease everybody. So you
Oh,
make
of course. No,
we
no.
make a date,
No, so-
and it is what it is, and
It is
hopefully
what-
we'll
for
get
sure.
you. If not, hopefully it won't be a next one, but there'll be a next one.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm all for September 18th
Yeah.
and just let's stick with that date and push for that date.
Correct.
Any objections to September 18th?
September
Time.
18th is my anniversary.
Perfect for you then.
Venice.
That is the only time of the year we take a
You're back,
vacation.
you're back in Venice.
Well, if you want to do the 25th, that's fine as well.
Until 25th?
Because your attendance is critical for us.
25th.
Let's do the 25th. It gives us some time, but then it's still not that far out that we're pushing it.
25th?
And let's just agree to the date now, because if we keep not agreeing to the date, then that's just what happens.
He almost got in trouble on the record.
Yeah, they already did this to me on my wife's birthday.
25th it is.
All right, I think we all agree on September 25th, and that's what we'll bring to the board.
25th.
Yeah, good.
Do you want to start time 8:00? I assume. I don't know.
Whatever.
8 or 9.
Yeah, I think 9 is probably more.
9 is probably more realistic for people.
Yeah,
I'm not a morning person, but yeah,
okay.
I have to set my alarm for 9 o'clock.
What time are the usual community bike rides?
Oh, you've done them before?
Around 10.
There.
Around 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but we want to. I mean, 10 you could start getting into the 12 o'clock heat. I think a little earlier makes sense. But that's just my opinion. We can do 10 as well. But what do you guys think?
It really depends on the estimated time of the bike ride, because as we were saying, we want to avoid the heat and we want to be back to get in our jacuzzis.
I guess it depends how many people are going, though. If
That's
it's a
true as
huge
well.
group, it's going to take time to stage and head out. So saying at 9, pedals up at 9:30, 10.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say that. Say 9:30, but everybody's gonna show up. At
Like
10.
Cuban time, you
Right.
tell them earlier so that they'll.
I think we still. Yeah. I mean, to get it done and then get it done before the heat, and also it's morning is usually drier too. Let's stick with 9, but we could always start 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later. It's probably what's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
So September 25th, right? September 25th,
25th at 9
Yep.
9 a.m. We've all agreed on that.
Can I say maybe a happy medium 9:30? Because maybe 9 o'clock would discourage other people. 9:30 there.
I could see that too.
Whatever. It's not me, man. I get up at 6. So.
9 a.m.
But I think we'll stick with 9. So
9 to what, 12, whatever.
I think a lot of attendees will be pushed by us individually. I hope. I don't. So I think we'll be fine at 9. At the last meeting, we had the commander of the district here. He discussed 3 officers for 30. I think that's if we're at 30, 40, I believe, given our discussions, that 3 officers is fine. And that's what we need for the budget request. Does anyone remember specifically the per hour rate? I think it was 64 or 65.
Yeah, I think it was.
64, 65? I mean, I don't remember exact amount. Claire, so for the budget approval, do we need to give them an exact number? Okay. So I believe it was 65. Are you aware of the hourly rate for the police?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was 65 an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 65, and it's a 4-hour minimum times 3 officers. So what is that? $780. I want to confirm. I'm sure calculator's right. Okay. So we know we need $780 minimum. Is there any other budget item that we need to bring to the main committee other than the police that anyone can think of?
There's no licenses, stuff like that we need.
I mean, I'm not aware of it.
I'm not aware of
Are
it.
you aware of any other permits or expenses that we have to apply for the city for something like this?
No, usually the neighborhood improvement committee just has waters at the beginning of the ride.
So we could add that, or we can each just donate $5 and bring our own case of water from Costco. I don't know. It's up for discussion. I think the 780 makes sense because that's what we need. That's what we require. I'm not really aware, and we're not aware of anything else other than and something we would want to provide to the bike riders. So, anyone have any other budget items? Go ahead, speak up.
Like a ribbon or something that it's unifying. We know who the riders are. Something attached to the bike. I mean, something. I don't know what. Yeah, if everyone's wearing a hat, per se, something that identifies who's with the group.
Maybe like
I'm not gonna bring your cape this time.
no, like in bike rides and marathons where they have a piece of paper and you clip it onto your shirt.
Something like something.
Yeah, that's cost effective and still.
That brings up a point that I was actually gonna raise with regard to the attendance item, which is, are we having people pre-register for this event, or do they just show up like the community bike rides?
Well,
Everyone should pre-register. That way we capture their email addresses, their contact information, and they sign a release and waiver.
so that brings a question from me. I was under the impression that it's not really a community-wide bike ride, that it's just on invite only. We want the members of the press and elected officials. So they would be invited specifically rather than having everyone register and come. That would be my question.
No, I mean, I think we want to announce it and have people coming. We just, I mean, I don't believe we would have a very large attendance, but I think 30, 40 is a reasonable and doable estimate. Maybe a few more than that, depending on how active we get the word out. And I guess I think the 3 officers, going back to the budget, is enough for a little bit of overflow if we have too many, because he discussed 2 if it was 20, but 3 is a good medium in case we have more than we expect right now.
So right now I'm just playing devil's advocate, not trying to shoot anything down, but if we do end up advertising it, then it could be that a lot of people show up, and then those 3 officers is not enough for the amount of people that will end up showing up.
Yeah, I'm really not sure how the police would handle that. Maybe we'd have to go, if you want to chip in. I don't know.
Sure. So how we've done it in the past, we limit the numbers that are for sale through Eventbrite, and that's the method that we use for these registrations. So we'll open it up to 30 people. If your goal is 40, because 40 will include you, the elected officials, we'll open it up to 30 and then it'll close. So anyone past that 30 mark can't register to participate. And if you're not registered to participate before the event and you didn't get a ticket, then you can't participate. You'll have to be turned down.
Right.
That's one way of managing
Also
that.
keep in mind, this is something to, as this mass is moving through the town, the participants are not necessarily the riders alone. It's the residents as we're riding through. It's interaction, in other words. So you can participate within the ride, or you can participate as the ride goes through. There's still interaction that's happening, which that's really the main goal.
Right, and I think one of the things we're going to want to do, for example, at the communities, is speak to HOAs and say, hey, let your community members know we're going to stop here. come and meet your representative and discuss the issue and learn about the blasting issue from the blasting advisory board and your local officials, right? So I think we will want to agree on a number that we want to have invitees, and then a number that we want to reserve for us and the people that we know we're going to want to invite from the public too. I just threw out 30 because that's what we were discussing last time. Might need to go back and look at or speak to the town, the police department specifically. If you could talk to them about how the maximum that 3 officers they would be comfortable with, and then we can determine at the next meeting how many invites we're giving to elected officials, town officials, how many of us, and then how many, I guess, open registrations we have, so we can clear that issue.
I'd also recommend that when that question is asked about the maximum people that they're comfortable with, 3 officers, that it's specified. It's a moving event. So I don't know if that number changes with a static event. Hey, if there's 30 people in an event, they feel comfortable with 3 cops. But then if it's a moving event where they need to do, motorcycle and what's it called? Escort.
Right.
If that number
Yeah,
changes.
that was taken into account.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what they know. That we're doing a bike ride.
Yeah, that's why they
Exactly.
want to know what the amount of people who are attending is, because they're not going to send 3 cops for 200 people. So
Yeah, the big issue is their ability to leapfrog. So we got to be able to identify the route and see what intersections or roadways that we'll be traversing on. The biggest thing that we were geared away from doing is going under 154 to cross the Palmetto to get to the east side of town. That bottleneck is a no-no. So that's how it began to narrow down who, what, where, and how we derived to this.
I think honestly with the route that we've chosen, it's quite simple.
And say,
Yeah, I wouldn't limit it to 30 people. I know it's the officer's suggestion. But then again, it is a bike ride, so it's a location that anybody can bike ride. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, it's nice to have them there. I personally think that maybe with 2, 1 in the front, 1 in the back, that's more than enough. This is not going to be a massive event. Hopefully it is, but even if it's that, I mean, I've been in critical masses, and all you need is just 1 in the front, and everybody just goes through.
Then again, we had 10,000 on the Palmetto last night. Well, that's another issue.
Yeah, well,
No, I think
But,
if go ahead.
no, and I was just gonna say that also with this route, I think it's a great one.
Yeah.
Another point that this gentleman was saying was with talking about the bib or points or
ID,
something,
ID.
identification. Maybe we can all agree on maybe a red color shirt, blue color shirt, whatever. And everybody wears a blue shirt, instead of doing the bibs, because the bibs is going to be, pins and paper, and my paper fell, and where can I get another one, and all this stuff. And there's people that maybe like their number playing the lotto or something. But yeah, I think maybe just a certain type of color maybe just will be better. So.
If I may, I don't think that's necessary. We've had rides where we have 200 people, 250 people, and people don't get lost like that. You don't have to invest in shirts or ask people to wear a certain color because then, I forgot and whatever. So in my opinion, I don't think it's necessary. We've never felt the need to do it in other rides where we've had more people. So I really don't think that you're going to need that this time.
but I think the intention is not so much that they're getting lost, but just shows a unity of a mass coming through.
Well, that's what your bike is for.
Well,
I just want to focus on, being identified. It's not that we're going to get lost or anything. You're absolutely right. And yeah, the the bikes definitely identify the group, but, yeah, definitely. I just made that point. Go on.
I was just gonna say, we can all identify ourselves by putting a big flag that says "Stop blasting" on the back of our bike, and then we're easily identifiable.
One of those flags with the on the stick.
Exactly.
The bike is stuck to
But
my chain.
in all seriousness, I think since it's such a small group, and kind of to the point you said, that a lot of the participants are going to be people that we ourselves push, and then members of the press and the elected officials, we can kind of coordinate privately, like, what do you want to wear? And then you still get the same effect without affecting the budget and without,
Yeah.
creating
That's saying if
unnecessary
it,
control.
what you're saying in rain, just everybody wear a blue shirt.
Yeah,
That's an example.
exactly.
Yeah, it's
and
like the
it's
colors
simple.
of,
Um,
Miami Lakes and stuff like that. I think
Right. And I think the other thing with our route, with the police is, other than crossing Miami Lakes Drive going through Oaks, I mean, there's really no major intersection we're crossing, not one.
No, and the officer said you have legal right to ride on the road.
Right.
It's not a matter of.
So I mean, I think we want to know what his maximum, but if you could let him know that the idea of the route, and that really the only we have one major intersection that we cross, which would be 82nd Ave and 154th. The rest is pretty much just down 87th and through neighborhoods.
Right.
And that might change his number a little bit, but we'll just want to have a good idea, because we don't want to keep people out. Not that someone can't just follow us anyway. Anyone's allowed to ride a bike. But it would be good to register as many as we can. Okay, the last thing I had on the bike ride items was, and I don't know if it's necessarily needed because we're making progress here, is discuss with another committees that have a lot of experience with the bike rides, to bring them in maybe in one of these subcommittee hearings and get their feedback. I mean, we have a little bit more time. Does anyone have any ideas on that, or should we just move on and sail through?
I would just say sail through. I mean, I think we're smart enough to talk about
I think so too.
bike ride.
Yeah, I think too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Syndrome kicks in.
Are we missing anything that you're aware of from your past experiences with the bike rides? Obviously, we're going to get the budget requests, but anything else?
No, I think the route seems like a easy route. You're going to hit a lot of areas in town that are affected by blasting. You're not going to interrupt traffic. The only thing that I would request is that you run that date by Representative Fabricio and all the others that had committed to participating, just to get them on board too. But no, nothing else.
Okay. So to summarize, so what we'll submit to the main board is the $780 budget, a date of September 25th. Miguel, maybe you can clear that date ahead of time with the representative. Perfect. Other than Representative Fabricio, is there anyone other? We're going to invite others. I assume we want to invite the members of town council. Is there anybody else that we're going to want to specifically
I've also
invite?
asked if Alex Rizzo, Rep Alex Rizzo wants to join us as well.
And what about State Senator Diaz?
Rene Garcia or
Diaz.
Mario Diaz-Balart.
Well, I mean,
No, he's federal. He's talking about Manny Diaz.
Jr.
yeah, Manny Diaz. Have you
Manny
have?
Diaz?
Yeah, you ever conversation?
Yeah. I don't have contacts with him. But
Okay, all right. And would Diaz-Balart be interested, you think?
I doubt it.
Yeah, agreed.
Call Marco.
Yeah. I'll try to see. Does anyone here have contacts with State Senator Manny Diaz? But I'll try to see who I can contact.
I have a meeting with Rene Garcia on Friday.
Well, I'm sure
That's
he
another
can
one,
get you in
Rene
contact with him.
So I'll ask him.
And that's another one, Rene Garcia, the
Definitely.
local commissioner.
And the news channels had asked, I had advised them of this, and they said, give me abreast of it once you get the date, and we'll get coverage on it.
Okay, that'd be great. Okay.
Before we move on to the rally, though, I wanted to ask, do we have any plans with, I guess, communication staff or anything with regard to photographers, videographers, or are we just going to do that ourselves with phones?
Right. I think we discussed that once, and since it's on a weekend, I don't believe the town is necessarily available for that, correct? Okay. So yeah, we'll have to do that ourselves, but of course we'll want the town to help us publish the event.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, because it, like to what he said, the mission is to help identify blasting damage and all that stuff. So the best thing is when we're hearing the stories that part is getting recorded. That way it's then reproduced and published out to everyone so that they also get the message.
One question. You said it's Manny Diaz, right?
Yeah.
Manny Diaz Jr.
Yeah, the state center.
I could get to him if you need to.
Okay.
Also, I don't know. Just how fast you need to get to him.
I mean,
I think we can do that like in August.
yeah, we could. We just want to. I think for him, we want to give him a date.
Yeah.
For Rep Fabricio, we want to make sure this date works for him since he's the one.
So we'll just tell him from now.
Yes.
That's it, yeah.
Okay. Well, supposedly it works for Representative
All
Fabricio.
right. So then, set in stone. I could reach out to him.
Yeah, if you want to reach out, that'd be great.
All right.
Okay, so I think we have everything we need to present to the main board on the 19th to get this approved, and then move to the town council to get the budget and event approved. Go ahead.
Is anything happening at the park?
That's something we're gonna have to
conflict?
check.
Is there any, there's no activities or anything in particular?
The mayor's gala is that evening, but that doesn't conflict with this event.
That's right.
That's right. So there's nothing else on the town calendar that'd be going on at that park? Okay. And is there anything we need to do specifically to I mean, we're using it as like a setup area, not necessarily will be sitting there. Is there anything we need to do with the park to sort of reserve it, or not that we're going to use the facilities per se?
No, we'll make sure that the bathroom facilities are open for you. You may want to consider reserving a section of the parking lot, but other than that, I don't foresee anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does the town have like one of those pop-up shelters, a shade thing for, just as the.
Yeah, I
meeting
believe
point?
we do.
Something
Like a
that-
tent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That if we could reserve that to have it set up there, and that just acts as our rendezvous point.
Okay. I think we're set on what we need to present. Any other comments on the bike ride? All right, great.
I think it's good.
Another item we had on this subcommittee is the blasting rally. We discussed it briefly previously that we believe that it should be closer to session, right? So I don't know if it's a little premature to discuss certain matters at this point on the blasting rally issue. And I know some of the bigger advocates for it are not here, but we can't get a date yet, but we want to get closer. Now, I guess the discussion is here. Do we want it in December or do we want it in January? And then keep in mind, December obviously is not the best month to be hosting things unless it's early December.
The problem is once January, they start in January. So it's going to be a no-go then, period. I think more than anything is to consider a venue, what venues are available
Right.
is the most important. So we can start narrowing it down, where it can be held and what.
Okay.
And if it's December, it's gonna be early December,
Right. Early December or,
between the 1st and the 15th, no more than that.
right.
It's that simple.
Let me look here.
That's my birthday.
That's why. That's exactly why.
December 15th,
The 5th is my birthday.
The
the
5th.
5th.
And the 6th is my son, so.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. So no, I mean, for the first 2 weekends of December would be the 4th or 11th.
The 4th or the 5th.
So we want it, that's the closest we can get to January, because anything else,
Right.
the
No,
attendance is not going to be there, and then we're too close to the session
Correct,
starting.
Correct.
So I think those are the two dates we would be aiming for, unless anyone has any other thoughts on that. So the next thing is, and tasking out really, you're right, Miguel, that's the first thing, and it actually has to be done sooner than later, is venues.
Where?
I think that December 4th probably be, it's the first Saturday.
Yeah, first Saturday of December.
What are you thinking about?
Probably.
I mean, I agree. I think that's the better date, but I guess we got to see availability of venues.
Right.
Right. If nothing good is available the 4th, but we have it available 11th, then maybe
Right.
the 11th makes sense. So right now we just got to discuss what venues we believe are appropriate.
Well, one was a park and ride.
Yeah, one was a park and ride. I don't know.
Also, besides.
Right. I don't know the feasibility of that
I don't
one.
know
That
feasibility
one's
of that.
outside of town limits.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Miami Gardens at the end, when
Miami
it
Gardens
hits
at
75,
75.
on the other side of 75. It's a big open parking lot.
That's where you would hold the rally?
The what?
That's where you would hold the rally?
Well, we're considering it because it's a large area. It's a big parking lot.
And you
There's nothing
see,
there.
you see the quarry,
Yeah, it's not really used, and
Oh, if you
Big
could
Blue
see
is
the-
in
Big Blue,
is the foreground.
the foreground.
Right. I mean, that part's great. I just
That
don't
part- that
know
part's great.
the logistics and getting people to show up to the park and
Yeah,
ride.
That's the problem.
It's easy to get
That's the
there,
problem.
obviously.
I
Right.
think the
Well, that-
obvious candidate in terms of getting people there, and there's all sorts of amenities as well, and it's a nice place, and it's central, is Picnic Park West.
Exactly.
It's the obvious
West.
place if
That's
if
it.
it's got availability,
Picnic Park
and we'll take us.
That's yeah.
Well, one of the two parks, the one on 82nd.
I'm thinking
You're thinking about the one on 87th,
87.
but there's the one on 82nd
Right. The
where the CVS and the Cub Scouts are.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
That's
That's what
the
it's
one,
on.
that's Picnic Park.
But I'm-
The one on 87th is Royal Oaks Park, and
Is
the
Royal
only
Oaks Park.
reason the only con to Royal Oaks Park, which is not a con for the bike ride, since we're just
No.
parking and leaving,
Right.
is there's a lot of sports going on there.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about, if it's a rally, I'm assuming we're trying to make some noise here.
Yeah.
You don't want to interfere with their sports, and you don't want their sports interfering with us.
right.
So it's a little bit more logistical there, whereas Picnic Park West is,
But at that time of the year, is there anything going on there?
that's a good question.
The other good thing about the park is that you get to people from Palm Springs North, like right there.
That
I
one?
mean, I think the
They will
87th,
cross 154 to get to Picnic Park West.
but 87th Avenue, they did the food distribution there.
Yeah.
Is very comfortable
And the
to get
blood
there.
drives.
And the
The
blood
blood
drives,
drives,
yeah, because you get off from the highways, everybody
Right,
gets right there.
everybody's there.
That the other park is a little more
It's more,
set back.
right.
So I mean, my preference would be that park if it's feasible to do.
Yeah.
Which one?
The Royal Oaks.
Royal Oaks.
87, yeah.
They're both honestly good options. I don't know that you can see the rock quarry from there, but they're both good. And the thing is, when whoever designed that park they just said, we are never going to run out of parking here because it's got so much parking. That's why it's so comfortable,
Right.
and that's why they were able to do the food drives and stuff there, because it was
Blood drive.
gigantic parking lot.
It's a large parking lot, yeah.
So we got room.
But I think that, what we had discussed last time was that number one spot to be the park and ride, number two, this, but depends on the logistics of what can be done.
Yeah, but those are probably two best bets.
Okay, so we need to determine, those are town parks, so determine the town availability of those two parks on either December 4th or December 11th. And what time are we looking at? Early afternoon, or mid-afternoon? What makes sense? I mean, I think we're going to try to have this an event where we might invite some food trucks and things like that, right? To get people to get
That'd be kind of
come.
cool, actually. I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, that's what
Yeah,
I was
I think-
thinking.
that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
No, that's what I was thinking.
That's
So-
another advantage of Royal Oaks Park,
Yeah.
because it's all parking lot, you can just
Right.
bring food trucks.
I mean, that's my thought is, and in December, good weather, don't have to worry
Actually,
about
the
it.
town doesn't allow food trucks.
I was about to ask.
Uh,
We do for special events. We have them at 4th of July, Easter event.
4th of July, they're all over it. Oh, no, Indian Park West.
Okay, so if we can get permission for that, then we'll be okay. Another thing is, I think that's preferable on Royal Oaks Park is we want to try to get people from other locations, specifically Miramar,
Miramar.
to feel comfortable, come here, and that definitely is. I know it does. That might be like a mile, but it is a difference.
Yeah, the PSN people definitely go.
PSN as well.
Country club people will go.
Yeah.
That whole area will go. Be right there
For
for the rally.
I know, but for the 87th Avenue you're talking about?
Right.
I think it's a lot easier access.
A lot easier.
Across the board.
Right. So I think that's our preference. If we can confirm availability on either of those two dates for Royal Oaks Park, I'm happy to follow up and get those dates. How do we want to make this bigger than just the Miami Lakes Blasting Board, though?
We gotta get the word out. We gotta get other
Miramar.
municipalities.
Hialeah Gardens,
Doral.
Doral.
Hialeah Gardens is like unbelievable amount of damage there.
Exactly.
It's Medley, right?
Medley.
Medley has a ton of
Yeah.
damage.
Does Medley doesn't have much residential?
No,
No.
but
Correct.
what's the town?
We have like 1,000. Their
It's
population
right
is
there.
1,000.
But I think if the,
It's
It's
the
Hialeah
town,
Gardens, you're right.
yeah, if the town were to advise the other towns, the other municipalities, it would create a flyer of sort, and I mean this it's got to be impactful.
Okay.
It's not as important as the size. It has to be impactful.
So to that end, we would probably want to have things to give away, brochures or something, little armbands, whatever.
M80s.
Huh?
M80s with duds on them.
That'd
So
be
We
great.
want to stop this.
Um,
The thing is, all those things cost money. So
exactly.
they're-
That's
that's
how
where the
much
budget-
do you want to dedicate to it?
Right.
I think paper items, so like brochures or small little leaflets, are probably the cheapest per capita option.
Agreed.
Maybe some sort of magnet, like a refrigerator magnet
Right.
with little images that show like typical blasting damage. They can have it on the side of the fridge where they don't really ever see it, where I have all my magnets that I never see but I remember that they're there for when I need them.
Right.
And then if you see a crack, refer to it, things like that.
Also the issue with those is preparing them. It's not just the print, the cost, but the time. So it's something to keep in mind on it.
I just throw the ideas out.
Yeah, another thing is you could have like I'm trying to a sign that's on the ground with a QR code that opens up the PDF brochure. Yeah. So
Can you bring, and I'm saying it to stir the pot. Can you bring vendors of sort or realtors as an example? They do this a lot, where you go to a fair of sort, and then you go with your bag, and they're giving you all these little goodies and stuff. But something like that generates movement.
so a town-sponsored event with vendors.
Something. I mean, I'm just I think
Right.
vendors as an example, but something
You might be
that-
able to get sponsors.
Right.
Yeah, we do we would do the food trucks at the town center, and one of the big things in the food trucks have a following per truck.
Mhm.
So we have space for 14 trucks. Each truck brings in 300 people. 300 times 14. When I'm looking at marketing, I don't care. It's not a matter of who does what. It's a matter of getting the word out. It's advertisement. So in that light, is there something that can be done like that?
Maybe.
I mean, I've never done this before, so I don't.
Right, no, I mean, that's, neither I, and I guess with the food trucks, you would hope that you would get a following regarding, but what do you mean by other vendors? Like,
Vendors, like I said, maybe vendors isn't the right word, but it's a matter of an entity that has a following. And that if that entity is brought in for whatever reason, X, their followers will be coming. So the advertisement gets exponentially sent.
right,
We got like the Miners Association or something like that.
There you go.
right. I get what you mean. I guess we'd have to determine which entities would want to be involved.
Right.
And then reach out to them and then see how we could confirm they can participate.
I think you hit some good people, realtors, probably the best ones. Serious? Probably the best ones.
You bring the fire department in with a fire truck.
Right.
That brings attention.
That's it.
You know, you get a big snorkel truck parked to the side.
Ratty right there.
And the kids love that.
Right.
And they could do it on duty. We get them off duty. They let them tour the truck and they have fun with that. Stuff like that. It raises attention.
Yeah.
Just an idea for the rally, if we could have demonstrations. I saw on the Blasting Advisory Board's page on the town website, there's a link to a YouTube video of, what's it called, liquefaction?
Liquefaction.
That one. There's a link to a YouTube video. If we could have like maybe I think they use like a tray this big. If we could have like a larger scale thing like that, those kind of presentations and demonstrations of how ground moves and all those things, and make it interesting.
That's good too.
That'd be cool if we could have every couple, like at a certain interval, every hour, at the top of the hour or something like that, there's a demonstration like that to show the people like this is what this is doing to us. We just don't notice it.
Not the grenade in the pool though.
Maybe somebody like FIU engineering department or something like that
Yeah.
could come and set up a booth and have their students talk about how blasting affects structures and things like
That's a
that.
good
That's a
vendor.
great
That's another
presentation.
good vendor or
Right.
Or
I
person
mean,
too.
right. Not necessarily a vendor, but we don't want people to just go there to speak with the
supporter.
politicians and
correct.
eat food. Educate, right? We want to educate so then they can vote for
big awareness.
the right people that want to resolve this and put more pressure. And like you said, there's still people out there, even in Miami Lakes, that don't know what's going on why their house shakes twice a day. And that's the goal. And the goal is to tell the people in Hialeah Gardens and Miramar and anyone else nearby of why their house shakes twice a day.
I like that idea. I like that a lot.
So do you want to, I mean, we need to confirm the date first before we start reaching out to people, honestly. So I get the first thing is to confirm a date with the town and availability. I think our preference is the first Saturday of December, correct? If not, then the second Saturday at Royal Oaks Park. So we'll bring that to the main board and confirm. And then after that, we start reaching out to people to invite, food trucks. Well, I guess we have to get it confirmed by the town council first. So hopefully we can potentially do that at the next meeting. At least get the event confirmed, but what type of budget would we be looking at, if any? I guess we'd be looking at a police budget again, potentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
permits. There we do need a permit.
You
Right,
need sound permits.
right. So we're looking
Some
at
permits.
a more extensive budget on that
Yeah.
one, which we would need to get a little bit more details. I mean, you can tell us a little bit so we know for the next one, for an event like this, I guess we don't have an idea of the amount of people, but an event hosted at the park, food trucks, FIU engineering, having a booth, things like that. What type of town permission and permits would we need?
Is this an indoor or outdoor event?
Outdoor.
That would be outdoor.
So I would say tables, tents, chairs. If you invite the food trucks, that'll take care of the food, but people will have to buy their own way. I don't know if you're interested in having water available to people.
Is there any cost for one police security? Is that required for an outdoor event?
I'd have to speak to them. Usually they have events that are already part of their budget, 4th of July, the Veterans Day, etc. Since this isn't an event outside of that, we'd have to speak to them.
How does the town do the food trucks at these events? Typically you charge, the food trucks are charged an event fee to participate.
That's correct.
The town does that as well, or how does that
Yes.
work?
Yes.
Because that generates a revenue to offset the costs. If some,
So-
ideally it's a wash.
Wait.
I would caution though, since this is a new event, you really don't know what to expect. Your fee to these food trucks should be minimal.
Okay, so when we're talking about a food truck fee, we're talking about us charging a fee. Okay. No, because I know some food trucks will request, especially if you're asking a fee, they'll request that you guarantee a certain foot traffic at least,
Right.
If not revenue. So that's an important
And
thing
you
to
don't want to
consider.
get in that, then you go to another food truck.
Exactly.
Yeah, for 4th of July, we charge food trucks $150, but they're guaranteed 10,000 people at the park.
At Satori, we have food truck events, I think every 2 weeks or at least once a month. We just don't charge them anything.
It's the same as us.
That way we don't have to guarantee them anything because we have some events. We've actually had like 3 events where they've run out of food, super successful. And then we've had like 1 or 2 where the attendance was a little less than expected or it got there really late. So, with Satori specifically, it's kind of like unpredictable. I think with this right now, we're not entirely certain how much attendance we're going to get. So we don't want to guarantee foot traffic. So either keep that fee low or not at all.
Yeah, we've had the same exact thing, and we've also had food trucks. The trucks themselves crash the party. So they hear about the event, the previous one was successful, we want in. It doesn't work like that. So there is some logistics that get involved to do it. And yeah, it could be special.
Okay, so I think we're set on confirming a date, and then once we have that date, Claire, so we get the event approved. Can we get the event approved first without a budget and then make the budget request?
I recommend that you propose a budget. The council's going to be having their budget meetings and the budget hearings in September. You
Right.
want to make that
Make that
request
now. Okay,
before that.
got it.
What about the time?
What?
What time?
For the event, I mean, I think we're thinking,
Afternoon, I would think.
afternoon, right? Have it a lunchtime event that if we're thinking food trucks or get people to come in.
Like a 4-hour thing.
Right,
so-
like a 4-hour time slot. I don't know if we do 12 to,
or
12
3
to
7 or
3.
something.
or
By that
yeah, or you
time
can
it's already
do,
dark though. Could start early.
right,
So you got to be done by 7 o'clock.
right.
So going backwards 4 hours is 3 from, say, from 2 o'clock.
No, you can do, we can look at 2 ways. We can do like 2 to 6, or you can do, or really more like 12 to 2, or 12 to 3, or whatever the math is.
May I ask why Royal Oaks Park? And I'll tell you why I'm asking the question.
Sure.
We have the weekly farmers market. I know it's on the east side of town, but
Mhm.
people from all over the area attend the farmers market, and you have a captive audience there. Perhaps setting up a booth at the farmers market, and we have the right to have at least one nonprofit or one organization from the town at each event. You may want to consider doing this rally at the farmers market.
If something like that was combined, it would dilute the effect of what we're trying to provide. You were doing major marketing and who would benefit would be the market, marketing for the event. The doing it that way, not doing it that way, the focus is on what the activity that we're doing. It's not about going downtown and everybody enjoys this. It's about, we're doing it for a focus.
Well, the reason that I brought it up is because you were saying, these food trucks bring people in. Well, the farmer's market, the same. The market brings in people. So that's why I felt I was compelled enough to say it, because I was kind of comparing it to your point of the food trucks bringing people in. I mean, there is a captive audience. More than 1,000 people walk through the farmer's market every Saturday. It's been very successful, even in the summer months when it's really, really hot, because they enjoy the beautiful canopy there on Newborn Road. So just a thought, just think about it.
Thank you. I get your point. You want it to be its own event. The only way I think that would work is if we could really set something, like stage something there that's
Right.
sort of separate, but you can then seep in from it.
If
I don't
you-
know the logistics for that though.
If you wanted me to be honest on that point, I wouldn't want to tarnish the farmer's market. It's actually the other way. And it's not because I think our event specifically would tarnish it, I wouldn't want to set that precedent of turning, this is by its
It's two
nature,
different
this is a
things.
political event.
Yeah.
The farmer's market's such a nice place to go. It really is, to go relax and shop. Like I wouldn't want to mix it with this political event, and then it creates that precedent. And you always got events going on at the farmer's
It's
market.
a different crowd.
Yeah,
It's a
it
different
is.
crowd.
Different crowds.
The other thing is, if you're bringing the politicians in, media and all that, they're in the farmers market scenario, will be in a tent.
Yeah.
And that's it. So there's no intermingling. With the food trucks, I mean, if you guys know how it is, you got to put your order in and then you wait. So you have the captive audience there while they're waiting for their food, and they're interacting with what we want them to be interacting with. As opposed to the farmers market, you're intermingling with each vendor. So it's not necessarily a captive audience for what we're trying to capture. It's the market is benefiting at our expense.
Right. I agree. That was my comment. It'd have to be something really like separate state. Like I'm envisioning like an actual stage at the end of the market that's separate, but I don't know if that's logistical anyway. So we need to get set on a date. We need to discuss a budget. I don't know if we want to discuss a budget right now until we bring to the board. I think we're a little bit blind on whether we have a need for police, which that would be 4 hours and probably 2 to 3 officers if there's a security request. So that's $780, right? And then we're talking about things like tents and chairs and things like that. But the cost is a little blind unless we want to get a number out there for a request for this rally. But
What kind of numbers are you? I mean,
I don't know,
what do you feel is a budget number? And working backwards,
$1,200.
$1,200. Because I don't see 3 officers. I think 2 officers would probably be sufficient for this.
Right.
With a vehicle. And so that you're looking for 4 hours, 65.
260,
65 times.
260,
So 520.
Yeah, 520.
520. We'll-
And then the other thing is if you're generating some revenues from the trucks themselves, so that offsets the cost.
Potentially. I mean, we don't know what type of revenue it is, and we don't know if the trucks will want to pay for a new event.
Well, it's not that they're paying for the event; they're paying for their parking
Right.
spot.
Right.
And $150 is typical. I mean, that's
Okay.
what we charge the same. So if you have 3 trucks,
Right.
you can't get too many trucks, as then
No,
you're
right.
diluting their market.
Mhm.
Or 2 trucks probably be better. So at $300, there's your offset. But yeah, I think like $1,500 or something around there.
Right.
If you diversify the food trucks, meaning they're not competing with each other.
Right.
So one is a burger place, another one is a sweets
Exactly.
place, another one is something else. They have no problem making their money back unless they suck. But that's a different story.
Okay.
I think I would assume we're gonna get good ones, and you shouldn't have a problem with that fee.
Okay. So when you're saying 1,500, you're taking the fee into account, or you're saying 1,500,
Well,
then whatever the fee is?
That you know,
Comes-
there's
goes in.
gross and there's net on that. So, but you're saying 1,200. I'm saying 1,500. I think
Right. I mean,
depending on what assets are allowed to be used and take advantage of.
Right.
I don't know if the town has chairs or they all rent it out, as an example.
Right.
Do they have fold-up chairs that they can use, or
Yes, we have.
so that's an expense right there. Knock it off.
And high top tables.
Yeah.
There you go. You want those at food truck events?
And the what? I'm sorry.
High top tables.
No, we don't
Right.
have those.
Oh, you don't have
No.
those? Oh, well, I don't think I can supply those. No, they're not mine. They're not mine to supply. But that's something you would want to rent a few of them at food truck events. There's nothing worse than you get your food and then where do you go with your food?
Yeah.
Right.
If there's nowhere to sit or at least stand,
Or a table of sorts.
you know, yeah. If it's not, you said do you have regular tables? Okay,
These
well
are
then
nice.
we could just use these then. You don't need to use high tops. We don't have
Right.
to be fancy.
So I think something like that you know, those are the type of assets that dissolve the budget real quick.
right.
So if it's available, take advantage of that.
Of course. So
And
we're really
less
looking at
than
we're looking at giving a number to get approved by our committee and then the council. That's pretty much almost a somewhat of a reserve where, all right, we think we're going to need 2 officers. We know how much that costs. And then the rest is, well, what we may need to complete the event, which is $1,000. And if we don't use it, we don't use it, obviously.
You're right, right.
This could affect the budget. So when I ask this question, it has to do with the budget. In terms of programming, what are we planning? Who's going to speak? Who's going to be the leader of the rally? This one?
Use the chair.
I mean, listen. Well, we'll want elected officials, especially the state reps, and hopefully state senators, and hopefully we get the word out. It's also going to include local officials from the other towns, not just the town of Miami Lakes, right? So, I mean, those are going to be the leaders, including the board.
To that end, does the town have those like portable little modular stages, or does it usually rent it?
We have a small stage that's maybe like 18 inches off the ground,
Yeah, that's all.
4 by 8.
Yeah, that's all that's needed.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
a
a
platform.
it's a stump.
It's a
Really, is
platform.
what you need. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
So, right, that's
So
another.
you would want that at the event.
Got it.
But like that, if some elected officials can speak and some demonstrations,
Right.
interactive stuff from FIU, if they could do that, it'd be fantastic.
Right.
I don't think we should overplan this, but be proper in it.
Right.
Something nice.
Something nice and bring people in. That's what you have the food trucks for. Then you have something to educate the people, and,
Yeah.
and along with elected officials, so people like to speak to who they elect and get their position on things. I think the key to get people is going to be making sure we get the word out very well, but that's also could potentially be a cost if we want to get
Yeah.
flyers out and things like that. So I think that's where we're looking at the budget is other than police is getting the word of the event out, and then also speaking to the nearby towns and pushing them to get the word of the event out. So do we want to then suggest $1,500 budget
I think it's a working number
that we can work with?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then that's, I think we agree on that. We'll submit that to the board as well. So,
If on that, we have invested in Facebook and Instagram ads to get the word out on numerous activities, and it's worked out very well for us. So in that budget that you have, if you would consider including some social media marketing dollars, that would be good.
and how much?
A
do
little
those
bit
usually
goes very
cost?
far. So, I mean, $100
Right.
can really get you some engagement.
Okay. I think with 1,500 we have room for that. So I think we're comfortable with 1,500. So that's what we'll present to the board on 15th. So we have 1,500 for the blasting and 780 for the bike ride. So a grand total of 25. It's 2,880.
You said 780,
Yeah. So excuse me, 2,280.
2280.
Yeah, that's the lawyer math. Got it.
You guys only count towards it.
Okay. For the budget request, is it separate or could we just request the 2,280?
I think you're going before council August 10th.
Right.
Yeah, I would just make the request in that report.
Okay, but just the lump sum request, or should we specifically make it?
You should detail
Right,
what
got
you're
it.
going to spend it on.
Line
Yeah.
items on it.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess that's your job once we get it approved. Thank you. Okay, I think we'll put legal review because we want to coordinate with the town attorney to have him come to one of these subcommittee meetings. So we'll put that aside and have that on another one. I think we have everything we need for our main meeting on the 19th, so we can adjourn.
Are you going to do item number C?
Well, we wanted to have the town attorney.
Oh, for that one?
Yeah, for that one. So I'll try to coordinate that for the next meeting. I think it'll be good to have him here.
Was that-
All right, we're adjourned.
So I have a motion on it?
Motion to
you.
adjourn.
Good night, everyone.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
Actually, you didn't set the date for the next meeting.
Oh, that's true. When do we want to have the next meeting? Right after.
Yeah, Monday we got.
That's
we
for
have
the board.
I mean, we can look at a meeting then for the subcommittee, can we? Yeah.
However
All
you
right.
wish.
We'll set the next subcommittee meeting at the next blasting meeting, at the main board meeting.
So just so I understand, since it's day one for me, the main committee the main board is meeting on Monday.
Third Monday.
And then it basically just created this subcommittee to handle the events.
Right.
Okay, got it.
It's the third Monday of every month is the reoccurring date. And then we actually had 3 items that we were discussing. And then it was decided to make a subcommittee. So that's how this came about.